we teach a little bit, and then this is the other side of our business, which is the framing. Again, the same safety measures we teach, material types, and then wall layout. So where do the windows go? Where do the bearing points go? We teach how to cut arches. We teach how to cut stairs, both radius stairs and straight runs. We teach roof systems, which are trusses and conventionally framed. And again, we teach about teamwork. I just kind of captured the first year earnings of a beginning carpenter. So if a 18-year-old come right out of high school were to come and apply and gain employment with us, this is a little bit of their path. So the first year earnings, a beginning laborer is going to start at $15 an hour and work at that for 3 months. That's 520 hours per quarter. After 3 months, he's going to be eligible for a 50-cent raise. After the next 3 months, another 50-cent raise. After the next 3 months, another 50-cent raise. So after 1 year of employment, they're actually making $17 an hour. So $32,760 for their first year right out of high school, no education. Second year earnings, very similarly, their raise or their evaluation periods are every 3 months. We have a written test that they have to take to just kind of prove that they've gained that knowledge. When they take their written test, we also give them a second written test. They don't have to fill it out, but that's what is going to be expected for them to learn for their next evaluation and raise. So second year earnings are around almost $37,000. And then third through fifth year earnings, a typical lead man, which a lead man has about 2.5 to 3 years experience, make $41,000 to $48,000. And then a foreman makes $48,000 to $65,000. And then I just kind of captured a little bit of what the reality is. So most carpenters work about 160 hours of overtime per year, which adds anywhere from $4,000 to $7,500 per year. And then some of our crews work up to 520 hours of overtime a year, which could add another $12,000 to $24,000. We cap our employees at 58 hours a week. We do not let them work more than 58 hours a week, just because of quality of life and kind of going into a gray area of safety hazards. So all of that was base salary. In addition to that, we have quarterly safety, quality, and production bonuses, which for a good foreman could be another $10,000 to $15,000 a year. The majority of our foremen made somewhere between $80,000 to $90,000 a year, and an individual can attain a foreman position really after about 3 to 4 years in the trade. They can be a foreman. Opportunities after working as a foreman. So the path is labor, carpenter, lead man, foreman. Once they become a foreman and become proficient at running a crew and leading other carpenters, some of the next steps that they would have available to them would be a panel designer, a superintendent, an estimator, other leadership roles, safety directors, operations, and then general contractor, builder superintendents. I just put that in there that oftentimes 3G construction, 3G trim were a stepping stone where some of these individuals want to come in and learn a trade, and then ultimately they want to go to work for a general contractor. So a lot of our foremen have left us and go to work as superintendents for builders. Honestly, a lot of our customers, and we are very encouraging of that. And then the last slide, I'd just kind of like to walk you through a little bit of our website. And in doing that, I think I could give you an idea of what we actually do. Let's see. Okay, did the website come up?
You'll probably have to reshare just the
Just
website.
that screen?
Yep, exactly. While you're doing that, Mike, question if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah.
How often do you hire young people either right out of high school or with little or no construction experience?
Every week.
Every week, okay. So
yeah,
pretty
every week.
Pretty frequently.
Like that's a great question. Aaron, honestly, tomorrow we could easily hire 100 to 110 people tomorrow.
Wow.
And feel totally comfortable that we could, give them 40 hours plus of employment every week. So the amount of work that we turned down last year is probably in the range of $10 to $15 million worth of work that we turned down last year, just because we don't have the manpower.
Another question and follow-up: when you're hiring somebody with little or no experience in the construction field, what do you typically look for in that new hire?
So we laugh and say that our work is hot, hard, and heavy. So if that phrase doesn't scare somebody away and they're willing to show up on time every day, we take care of the rest. So it's very, very realistic for a hardworking individual over the course of 3 years that they could be making in that, $80,000 to $90,000 wage range. If they want to advance, a strong basis in math is very, very helpful. Geometry, trigonometry, general algebra, that's going to allow them to advance quicker. They're going to understand the philosophies behind the roof cuts quicker. So when individuals have a strong math basis, that's definitely a plus. Great questions. Any other questions before we transition to the website?
I have a question. How often would your workers interact with the electricians? And the reason I'm asking that question is because here at our school, we have a construction program and a low voltage electrical program, and it overlaps. And so how much overlap would you have, and would you hire students that come with an electrical background straight out of high school?
Sure. So great question. If you think about the structure of a building, especially a wood frame building, just imagine that every component that goes into the house touches the wood framing in one way, shape, or form. So carpentry, specifically rough carpentry, gives an incredible foundation. Our foremen know how to read all of the sheets in the plans. They know how to read an electrical page. They know how to read a plumbing page. They know how to read a mechanical page, because so many of the things that we do have to make sure that we're framing it in a way that appropriately accommodates those other trades that follow behind. So we would welcome any electrician to come in and work as a rough carpenter. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, you bet. All right, I'll just kind of walk you through a little bit of our website. I think there's some visual representations in here that might be helpful for the educators that are watching this. I kind of talked a little bit about the About page. That's just a little bit of the history of 3G. We're very involved in the community. Skills USA, Construction Championships. We've donated the material and had our leadership team run those construction championships for years. Metro Tech, we've had a lot of involvement in Metro Tech over the years. At one point in time, 9 of our foremen had all come from Metro Tech. So we're pretty involved in recruiting and creating interest on a high school and community college level. We've participated with South Mountain Community College in structuring some of their carpentry program and guarantee jobs. In fact, yesterday we just hired an individual that graduated from that South Mountain Community College carpentry cohort. So let's just talk a little bit about framing. We do really three different types of framing, how we would split it up. We'd split it up into residential, into custom homes, and then into commercial. So residential homes is primarily with a production builder, your Pulte's, your Marikays, your Cortlands. This is really pretty common for us, where we will build the roof systems down on the ground and then bring in a crane to set that roof system up on the walls. Kind of just walks you through a little bit of that process. We have 2 panel yards, one in the east side of town and one here off of Deer Valley, where inside this middle building right here, we have an automated saw. And that saw, basically inside a chamber, it will cut and mark every part and piece of the wall. So these walls right here were built on a table off of a 55-inch computer monitor. And all of those were, they were all laid out, and every part and piece was marked by an automated saw. So we'll build these wall panels in our yard and then deliver the wall panels out to the field with a forklift. That's basically them putting that bundle of walls up on the 2nd floor to finish framing the 2nd floor of the house. The crews in the field stand the walls up. It usually takes them maybe 2 to 3 days to stand the walls up, depending on the size of the house. And then the 4th day, they're starting on the roof. Again, that's just a close view of the wall panels. This is our wall panel yard. So the carpenters that are framing on the tables right here are looking at the monitors, and those monitors are telling them every part and piece of the wall and how the wall goes together. We've really been able to infuse some significant technology into our operation to be able to leverage an automated saw. We have panel designers that design every part and piece of the wall, and then those files export to the saw, and then the saw goes through and cuts every part and piece of the wall and labels it with a 3-headed inkjet printer. This is the finished product. So average, we built about 1,400 houses last year that followed this same process. Custom homes are a little different. They're each individual custom home, by nature of its name is unique. So we do not panelize these houses. We do work in Flagstaff, we do work in Phoenix, DC Ranch, Troon. These are some pretty intricate builds that really put a foreman's ability to test. Lot of math that goes into these custom homes. If you get into some of the intricate ceilings, we have a CNC machine that we use here at our facility to be able to cut these arches to make nice clean cuts. Some fun ceilings that we would put together. Are there any math teachers on the call? So you can imagine the math that goes into these, what we would call a growing ceiling. That's a little insight on our custom homes, and then some of our commercial buildings. These are apartment complexes, or these are charter schools that we build. I think this one that we're looking at right here is a legacy traditional charter school. Once again, you see a lot of these roof systems that we put together on the ground. A lot of that is to minimize exposure, minimize fall exposure. So we will put together as many of these roof systems on the ground as we can, and then pick them with the crane. Very, very satisfying at the end of the day. I would say that that's probably one of the main reasons why individuals come into the trades, is to just have that daily satisfaction and visual of what you were able to accomplish. So that's on our framing division. On our trim division, you know, these are the types of things that we do in the houses. We'll do some boot benches, or some wall details, some shiplap. In all of these houses, we install the exterior door, we install the interior door, we install the closets, so the shelving and the closet rod. This is just kind of an option called a boot bench. Mantles, some of the houses that we trim have handcrafted mantles. And then some, like a 4-unit French door. Some additional custom trim right here, where we'll do box beams, crown molding, barn doors, a sauna, cubbies. And then down here at the bottom, these are some commercial applications. This is either an apartment complex or a memory care facility, or an educational facility, charter school perhaps. And then on this tab, employment opportunities. If you do have students that are interested, this is a great way for them to inquire and apply. If they just go onto our website on this employment tab, they can click on, fill out the little questionnaire and click submit, and they'll get a call from us within 1 or 2 days. And just a couple of ads that we're running out there right now. And then another way to contact us is just to get in touch, perhaps if they don't necessarily want to apply, but they have a few questions that they would like to ask. It's an easy way for them to apply. We do have a Facebook page that they're welcome to jump on. A lot of our Facebook page is just used for some of our community involvement. If it's a race for mental health, or race for cancer awareness, just different avenues that we get our employees involved in. We do have tuition reimbursement for foremen and their family members. We do not yet provide tuition reimbursement for laborers or carpenters that are working themselves up, but individuals that have worked themselves up to be a foreman, and we provide tuition reimbursement for that. So that's just a little bit of history and a little bit of our trade. It's definitely something that I love. When I got into the industry, I was not gonna stay at 3G per se. I had dreams. My wife and I both speak Portuguese, and we were going to go down to Brazil and live in Brazil and build airports down in Brazil. And as I went out and started the trade, I just learned to love it. And we say you get sawdust in your blood. And it was just something that became very enjoyable for me and my family. So that's really the extent of my presentation. I'm totally happy to answer questions or walk you through any other information that you may be looking for.
I have a couple of questions because I have students in this area here. First, are you guys laying the foundation to the before you do the framing, or you got another third party doing that? That's the first question. The second question is, are you involved in the Dell Web School up at ASU in terms of the construction at all? And when you do college tuition reimbursement, what courses are you requiring, or your foremans and people might want to take at the college level, whether it be at a community college or a four-year school like ASU, that would complement their career advancement?
Yeah, so great questions. Let me drop back and answer your first question. We are a subcontractor, which means that we work for companies like Pulte or Marikay or Cortland or White's, McCarthy, Chase. So we primarily do carpentry. We do not lay the foundation. We do not do drywall, electrical, mechanical. All we do is the carpentry portion of the build. So we come on site after the foundation is laid. We build the structure, we leave, the other trades come in, and then we come back in when it's time to do the baseboard, shelving, doors, hardware. With regards to Dell Web School of Construction, no, we are not directly involved. I've reached out to them a few times and haven't been successful in recruiting from Dell Web School of Construction. Honestly, oftentimes your general contractors are ones that will recruit from Dell Web School of Construction. And then, did I answer all your questions, or did you have one more?
Well, yeah, kind of like, so when you do your, well, let me put it this way. What courses would be complementary to the advancement of the individuals who you would hire so they can move forward, whether those courses be at a community college level or at a four-year college level? Where would you start with that?
Sure, great question. So to take a step back, I am not prescriptive on what we will reimburse in terms of classes and courses. I will provide guidance on what would help them in their career. In general, any types of math classes are very foundational. Geometry, trigonometry, algebra, any types of communications, any types of accounting classes, any types of CAD or architectural design classes, those types of classes, blueprint reading, those types of classes are very, very complementary to progressing their career at an accelerated rate. We do offer a lot of those classes as part of our carpentry training program. We teach them the formulas that they need to know to cut those growing ceilings, or to build a set of stairs, or to identify wall heights. We actually, there's a specific calculator out there called a Construction Master, where we walk them how to do rise, run, diagonal, Pythagorean theorem. Those are all very, very important parts of carpentry. So in general, math, communication, accounting, design are the classes that would, accelerate their career.
What would a associate's degree, like for one of the community college, Gateway, for example, afford me if I was come and apply with your company?
Your question is would that benefit them?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yes, it would benefit them in the long run. So I can't necessarily say it would start them at a higher rate of pay coming in the door, but it would accelerate that raise schedule. So with an associate's degree, if their ability to understand and become proficient at those concepts was accelerated because of their associate's degree, that's what would help them, with their increased rate of pay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What other questions does, we have done tours of our yard. People like to come and see that. It really gets them excited about the trade to see those things happen. We always have a lot of interest in the sawyers to run the automated saws. That gets people charged up pretty quick. So.
My question for a young person, maybe some advice if they're considering going into construction trades. What would you share with them to be able to share, say, with parents that might be a little anxious about their son or daughter going into the construction field, as far as just job security and outlook for the construction industry in that sense of job security and being able to live and work?
Sure, great question, Aaron. So have any of you gone out to try to purchase a home recently, or try to get an apartment complex? Or the demand in the Phoenix market is incredible right now, with so many jobs coming to Arizona. The housing market is very, very stable. We really do our best at creating a family environment around 3G, where we know the individuals, we work with them, we're real people. I have 3 kids myself, so I would say in terms of overall culture at 3G, we very much care about our people. Of our 300 full-time employees, I would tell you that 200 of them have been here for over 10 years. So typically when people come to work at 3G, they stay here. The benefits that we have, the paid time off, the very consistent raise schedules, the 401k, on-the-job training, and no debt, I can definitely see how parents would be apprehensive to encourage their children to get into the trades. I think that's just because they don't perhaps understand or haven't been to some of our businesses and see the level of professionalism that we really use and go through with our employees. Safety is very important. 3G Construction has been a partner with ABEC, which is Arizona Department of Occupational Safety and Health. We've been a partner with ABEC for over 5 years now. They regularly come out and do consultation visits with us to make sure that we're making safe decisions, that we're teaching, that we're training, and that we're involved from a leadership level in that safety. And then what I would say is an individual's ability to continue to progress in the construction industry is immense. So they come in and they work as a laborer or a carpenter and a foreman. And then if they want to be a foreman or a superintendent, the future is very, very bright. If you have an individual that's willing to learn the trade and to go to school at the same time to get, academic exposure, that individual is easily going to be able to make $100,000 plus a year. If they learn the trade and get a 4-year degree, those are $100,000 a year plus positions at really any company out there. So I can see the apprehension, but I can guarantee you that we're going to take care of them and guide them and direct them along their path, teach them and train them.
Thanks. Couple questions from the chat that we've got. Specific question on your computer-driven saw. Does someone have to input the measurements into the computer for the saw, or is that something that you hired just for that job? Like, so a little bit more information on that.
Sure, great question. So we currently have 4 panel designers. All 4 of those panel designers started as a laborer, carpenter, lead man, foreman. They all ran crews. So they have a very, very strong foundation of carpentry foundation. They read the blueprints, and then from that blueprint, they take those measurements and they input them into our software system. Sometimes they do it by a click and scale. Sometimes they do it by actually keying in the measurements, but they essentially mimic the plan that the builder gives us, recreate it in our software system, and then they will create a base house and all the options. Those designs will sit in a queue until we start to receive starts or homeowner purchases in a community. A homeowner will go in and purchase a specific floor plan with a specific elevation and then integrate their options. What our designers do is they'll grab that base floor plan, they'll grab that elevation, they'll integrate all of those options, and it will create a lot specific design and bill of materials. From that point, that file is exported to our SAW, and the sawyers see a bill of materials. So it tells them the quantity, the length, the size, the type of wood that they put on a conveyor. The saw has it conveys that wood up, flips it on edge, pulls it through the chamber of the saw, cuts it, marks it, and spits out the parts and pieces on the other side. So really, once our designs are created, it's a very, very simple process for high volume repetition. Let's see. Did that answer, is that good? Did that answer a question?
Yeah, that was my question. And it did. I thought it was awesome, and it seems very efficient. So thank you.
You bet.
You know, I wanted to share something too, Mike, that you had talked about. You know, some of the stats that we have with our Build Your Future operation. On average, folks in a skilled craft are making $5,000 more than what the college graduate 4-year degree person will make when they get their first job right out of college. So the big thing that we really try to emphasize with this, and Mike kind of talked about this, is they get to earn while they learn. And when he brings in these folks that are straight out of high school, and obviously if they've got some more experience, particularly in the math side, there's a big advantage to that. But the opportunity is really there to learn, right? And to be able to make that money while they're basically being trained.
Yeah.
Just something to kind of take into consideration, because I feel like a lot of our folks in education are not aware of that factor. And we're not downing college, because just as Mike said, right, that's your next step. Once you've got that skilled craft under your belt, to get into the leadership role is really the higher education. But just to recognize you've got a great earning potential there in preparation.
Going through the chat, yes, the minimum age for the Department of Labor is 18 years old. We have several 18-year-olds that are still in high school that are working for us right now. They go to class until 9 or 9:30 in the morning, and then come and finish the day with us. Kind of get a jump on the summer. Let's see, are you mostly in the Phoenix Valley? We do work in Phoenix Metro, so we work from Florence to Buckeye, Fountain Hills, Phoenix. We do occasionally do work up in Flagstaff, Prescott, Cottonwood area. Usually a lot of that is relationship-based work. So an individual that we know and have done work for him down in the Valley and would like us to go up to Flagstaff. I am licensed in 6 states. During the recession, we did a lot of work out of town. And as work restored here in the Valley, we brought all of our team members back to the Phoenix metro area.
It looks like there's an additional question too, Mike, about apprenticeships and internships or part-time college work.
So perhaps Robert can expound on that question a little bit, but In terms of apprenticeships and internships, yes, what we would consider that is on-the-job training and then classroom training. So when we bring individuals on as a beginning laborer or carpenter and they show good aptitude, their foreman recommends them to come into our carpentry training program. When they come into our carpentry training program, we walk them through blueprint reading, we walk them through math, we walk them through roof systems, we walk them through all of that. As far as part-time work, we have a few positions that are part-time. We do employ a lot of college students in the summertime. So at the end of May, we'll get an influx of probably 20 to 25 college students that are doing some form of construction management, and they'll come and work for us for 3 months over the summer. We love it. It's great for them. It's a great opportunity for them. I feel bad for them because when you start at the end of May or beginning of June, you didn't necessarily have an opportunity to acclimate to the heat. So their ability to work a full 8-hour day is limited when they first start on until they acclimate to the heat. But it ends up really being a great experience for everybody.
Kind of jumping in after that, what are your typical work hours for a job site?
Yeah, so winter time, typically 7:30 to 4. Summertime, 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. There are some municipalities that, don't let us start at 5:30 in the summer, and we obviously respect those municipalities. In our door shop and in our panel yard year round, we start 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. because it's in a controlled environment. It's a controlled, lit environment. So those hours stay pretty consistent throughout the year.
Mike, I have a question on the roof system that you gave the shot on. You had the photo with the crane that was doing the delivery. Is the assembly of that roof system on site?
Yes.
Or is the roof, it is assembled on site? Okay.
Yes. So the trusses.
But on the ground. Okay.
That's correct. The trusses come out on site, and then we'll build that whole roof system down on the ground where a crane can pick it and lift it up on the roof. Again, we make those decisions to limit fall exposure up on the roof. Mm-hmm. Not to say that all of our roof systems are put together like that, but where we can, we definitely teach and encourage them to put those build those modular sets down on the ground and then crane them up.
Well, that's got to be better for insurance purposes. And then of course, obviously, if you have somebody that falls, they're out of work. So, that's detrimental all the way around for the whole company. And I grew up doing roofing, and I had relatives who were framers. So to watch and think about it being assembled on the ground is quite different from the old school way.
Yeah. As a company, we are very, very strict on our fall protection. So individuals that are working on at heights above 6 foot or greater are in a harness the entire time. They're attached to a retractable yo-yo, which is a cable that any sudden movement is going to lock that cable up and, restrain that fall. So as long as they're, doing the things that they've been taught, they have safety meetings every day. We're not really super compassionate on individuals that break safety protocol. So we hope and pray every day that people do not come off of the roof, Paul.
The old days when people didn't care about safety, they'd say, well, you weren't a true roofer until you fell off the roof. And I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't want to fall off of a roof.
Yeah, we try to avoid that at all costs.
Mike, does your company provide externships for teachers during the summertime to pick up new skills and trends that's going forward in the construction industry?
Would you like to come to work for us in the summertime? Is that what your question is?
Hey, you said earn a trade in that 4-year degree, get $100,000. I come in the summer and learn.
I'm actually working the summer doing networking. So I'm I think I might like the air conditioning better at my age.
Yes, we would provide those opportunities. And I've been out to South Mountain Community College, Peoria High School, a lot of high schools out there. We're always happy to come out and present. If you have a group of students that have interest, I'd love to come out there and be present and answer whatever questions they may have. We have always made ourselves very available for the community.
I had a question. In your opinion, I know you talked a little bit about the housing market right now being really, really high for selling and buying. And do you think that it is less expensive or more expensive to build compared to buy?
To build new compared to buy existing?
Yes.
That's a fantastic question. I'm not a real estate agent, but I would tell you right now that there is so much pressure on all parts of our real estate market right now that everything is a bidding war. So whether you're purchasing a resale or whether you're purchasing a new build, everything is a bidding war right now. And to be honest with you, part of the reason why housing costs are so expensive is because labor is in such short supply. So we definitely have a labor issue in Arizona, where there are not enough individuals that are willing to come and learn the trade. And I think Build Your Future Arizona, that's one of the big marks of Build Your Future Arizona, is to try to help change that perception and drive more people into construction. So to answer your question, I'm sorry, I don't know. I would tell you that that's very, very area geographically driven.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
To springboard off of what Mike's saying there, I just got my latest updated numbers through our research company, and they're projecting that Arizona is going to need 248,000 skilled craft professionals by the end of 2024. Just right now, we have a demand for 38,000 carpenters. You heard it from Mike. He could hire 100 tomorrow, right? So we have a significant shortage of folks going into skilled craft. And I think it's a perception, right? It's a dirty job. It's a crummy job. You don't make any money. And that's what we're trying to do, is to dispel those misconceptions and try to show people that there are true career paths, just as you heard from Mike's own experience and the way his organization brings somebody in and the path that they try to guide them on.
In the chat, I threw in the link to the Build Your Future Arizona, just so you can take a look at that. There's some great resources for your students on there as well. And one of the other things that I would add, as far as Sarah's question on the shortage of labor, I knew the statistic, a couple of years ago, and Mike, you can probably correct me, but average age of a skilled labor construction worker was well into the 50s, mid 50s. And so you're seeing, an aging workforce, just like in other sectors, but particularly in construction, where you have, significant retirements as well. So just a lot of a lot of pressures on the workforce market. So it seems to be a pretty good time for a young person to get into the skilled trades, whether it be carpentry or plumbing, electrical, and really make a great living for themselves in the next couple of years in particular.
Yeah. Why do I think there's a shortage of labor workers? I would tell you because it's hard work. Really, to me, that's a lot of what it comes down to is it's hard work. It's very rewarding, but it is very, very hard work.
Mikey, I think that's something you and I have talked about, hasn't it? That a lot of times you're recruiting in some young people and their previous work experience has been whether that's a contact center or, you know, fast food or whatever the case is, the physical demand, and we're not even talking the heat factor, because you're trying to mitigate that with your hours, but it seems to me that that's really the thing, don't you think, or one of the main elements?
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, after, I mean, the reward is on the back end, right? The reward is after 3 to 4 years, they could be making, you know, $70,000 to $90,000 with no school debt. But they have to, that's something that has to be earned. So.
Mike, I have a question that might be math related. So in the cutting of the wood and stuff like that, when you're doing the framing, how do you guys calculate or build in for the settlement of the structure over time?
Yeah, those are great questions. So in our truss designs, so I don't know how technical you want me to get, but you know, all of the lumber, in terms of the wall system, the lumber is all graded for a specific fiber bend modulus of elasticity and loads. So we do our best, you know, the engineers do their best to calculate it to minimize those loadings. With regards to trusses, when we manufacture the trusses, we have live loads and dead loads and deflections in the trusses that we build into that and make sure that the designs are such that when those trusses do settle, it's not going to cause any issues. So that's a little bit more on the structural engineering side, but we work hand in hand with the structural engineers all day long.
So you wouldn't have a structural engineer on staff for that kind of work, would you?
No.
Okay.
Great questions, though. You guys have really asked wonderful questions.
Mike, Sarah made a comment that this was a really eye-opening session and that she wasn't aware. She thinks she may be a little bit naive. I think that it's the general public, wouldn't you say? They really don't have any concept of the need that you have for talent and the earning potential, you know, that's really along with these careers. I think it's, I hate that cliche, it's the best kept secret, but it's not a good kept secret. We need to get that word out.
Yeah, there's just immense opportunity out there for individuals to advance their career. And I will tell you, you know, one thing that at 3G we really encourage is I really encourage our carpenters and our foremen to go out and do side jobs. So, you know, they go out and do work for a neighbor or build a patio for a neighbor or do things like that allow them that ability to really start to understand the business side of it. In addition to that, they become a little bit more handy around their house. They can fix a door, they can hang a picture plumb level and square, they can build a doghouse, they can, you know, hang some shelves in their closet. You know, just the overall ability to learn and know a trade gives you this skill set that you're able to, you know, work through and figure out a lot of things on your own without having to hire somebody to come and do those things for you. So you learn how to use those tools. And you know, when in terms of women in construction, we have a lot of women that work for us. Not so many that work out on the crews in the field, but we have a lot of women that work in our panel yards, a lot of women that are sawyers and then, you know, our office and administrative staff. So in terms of women in construction, we have a lot of opportunities for women in our company.
Awesome. We are right at time. And Mike, I want to take the opportunity just to thank you for being with us today and given us a great overview of your company, but also the wonderful opportunities that are available in the construction field. Just want to encourage everybody to go visit the website, utilize those resources in the classroom to build your future, and really encourage your young people to take a good look at skilled trades and how rewarding that can be. I'll just add, my grandfather was a carpenter, and it used to just give me a sense of pride when we would drive around town, and we're in Tucson, and he would point out different projects that he was on. And you can do that for years to come. It is a very rewarding career. So just would like to add that. With that, thank you all for being here. As you know, we've got our wrap up tomorrow. Can't believe that it's been 2 weeks, and we'll be wrapping up tomorrow, giving you a little bit more detail on the follow-up as well. So just want to wish everybody a great evening. Mike, thank you again so much. Really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you for the opportunity.